Good day. Good day. And welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Owl Bob. And I am your Sensei Owl Bob. And I welcome the cadre and the chorus and all that visit our channel. And this channel is a channel of entertainment. And entertainment is a tool of enlightenment. But that enlightenment depends on you, the observer. Don't believe anything I say. I'm just your griot, Sensei Al Bob, here to tell you a story. And that story is to germinate your own conscious free will, your own ability to break forth from the illusion that we are surrounded by. And so there are so many things occurring. And with every day, things increase in distraction. We have this inability, seemingly, to not control our own life. Hey there, research. I've been trying to give you a call. And so after this chat, I will try and give you a buzz. Hey, Jane. Dealing with some drama. Oh, well. And that's what we're all dealing with, is drama and not reality. Reality is something that we have to understand we have control over. You know, the thing that gets in our way is our conscious mind, right? And what we have to do is set it free. And what happens is every day we are bombarded by all of these effects of stress and conflict and compromise and the inability to really understand what's going on in our life, and thus making, a a choice. I myself, every day, I had to do a whole bunch of things by certain date, like by the 23rd, if I don't give my, phone, provider $35, say goodbye to Dreamy Dreamland. And, I went by the bank and checked out how much money I had in the bank, and I have all of $9, right? So maybe this, today is, I think, the 20th. So in 2 days, if I don't put $35 in there, yeah, and my car has a quarter tank of gasoline in it. If I don't put, $20 worth of gasoline in that car in the next 60 miles, I'm not going nowhere. And not even getting down the hill to fill the tank, And, these are all mundane things, And I could obsess about them and go, oh, what am I going to do? No, I'll figure it out. The universe always takes care of it, And at the worst, so I stay on top of the hill at the school and, surrounded by beauty. And since last Friday, every day has been unbelievably gorgeous, right? And I've taken care of a whole bunch of things that, I put $300 into preparing the deep green, to are we back again? That was someone trying to interrupt the stream here. Only 5 minutes into it. Are we there? Are we here? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Tommy? Tommy, can you hear me? Tommy, Tommy. You're fine. Okay. So, what we have to do is we have to be discriminating, right? And discriminating is not prejudice. Discriminating is you having the choice of picking what you want, and you have a free will to do that. You don't have to be coerced by the illusion, right? You can be awake, like Buddha, awake, right, to what's coming into your field, right? And imaginary visor there, you have a choice to see what's coming in your field. You choose. You don't have to be forced, you know. And if you can be discriminating to, just put the thoughts out of your mind. I mean, there are plenty of people who are very, susceptible to. I mean, we're surrounded by this goo of psychic trauma that is electronically placed into our psyche. Now we have the free will to choose to see it or not see it. You know, like my host at the school. Hey, this thought just popped into my mind. Blah blah blah. No, well, you don't have to let that thought of blah blah blah, you know, totally possess you. You can just put it out of your mind. Get rid of it. It's like when you get a Gmail that's a piece of spam. You just hit the garbage pail and throw it away. And those are the thoughts. You just throw them away. You don't have to let them, you know, control you. And that's why every time we go into state, when we go into our Akashic record, the first thing I have you do is to evacuate all the negativity into the Akashic record. Right? Now, the backside of that is at a later date at your own convenience, if you were to go into your Akashic record, and I suggest that everyone should, go into state 5 to 10 times a day, and you open up your Akashic record and you look at all of that anger and fear and anxiety, and you look at it. And in the Akashic record, you're not looking at it emotionally. You're seeing it clearly. And you got those 28 little screens to give you a point of view of what it is. You got your librarian, you got your animal totem, you got your guardian angel to help you understand what all of this anger, fear, frustration, self-loathing is about, and to parse it out. I mean, that is what artificially psychotherapy is supposed to do. Now, this is a much stronger form of psychotherapy because you're doing it in your own subconscious mind, your own Akashic record. You are parsing it out. You're seeing it. And you have all these tools. You can go into your, superconscious mind over your id, into your sanctuary of your own choosing. And there's all these tools there. You got, the meadow, you got the gazebo, you got the bridge at the top of your id, having overstanding over everything. You've got your carnival, you've got, the cadre's home of the Oracle of Delphi. You've got your own lodge. You have so many tools. You got the fireplace to bring in great masters to take you into the doorways or go through the roots of the matter in the, tree of life, on the tree of knowledge. I'm trying to, as your sensei, instruct you on these tools and how you can use them. You, not me, you. I'm just offering them. I'm just showing them these are your tools. I'm just lifting the veil so you can see them. All you have to do to access all of this freedom of your free will is to breathe 20% more. That's all it takes. Said, I don't know how many guided meditations we've gone on, and I've shown you a lot of things, and it's all there. It's all in your Akashic record. Just kind of go to the page and relive. Go to if you can't go there, go to the YouTube. Every time I go on, live chat, I spend some time to shamanically spin up the energy of each chat. So when you go back and look at these, yep, John and I I got no money. I got $9. I got nothing to do. I won't even be able to do any YouTubes because I only have $9, and my phone guy wants 35 in the next 2 days. So hey, hitting the road with John might be laughs and giggles. And if we go it, John has the best cell phone. I mean, he can do a live chat anywhere. So we go on the road. We're going to do a nonstop live chat on the road with John and Al. Everything we bump into, every person we see, John's going to be the star. I'm going to be the cameraman, and the off camera voice of Sensei Al Bob. And John's going to be the star. He's going to be the center of attraction, the person, because he's got such an amazing personality. He will be the star, right? This will be the beginning of John's new career of being self-aware. You know, this whole trip was going to be focused on John being self-aware, no longer being manipulated by his, you know, anxiety, no longer being at the behest of all of the artificial worries that comes into his mind. As he says himself, I'm just quoting John. It just all these ideas just pump into my mind. I don't know where they come from. Well, this trip is going to be all about John becoming aware. Right. And we're not going to hold out for Danica. If some cutie comes along, John's going to just jump on it. No longer worrying about how it's going to hurt Danica, because Danica has spent, their whole relationship hurting John. I would say for more than 20 years. But that's just my opinion. And don't believe anything I say. So, yeah, we're going to hit the road, and it's going to be, again, the show is about John becoming self-aware. John understanding empathy. John connecting to all our relations, you know? And John being the star of the show. John will be number one. John is everything, you know? And when John is not driving, John, we're going to take along one of his guitars, his acoustic guitars, and he's going to play music, you know, deeply, emotional, cathartic music, not things about feces or people's asshole or body parts or any racist or sexist comments, but true human empathy. Right? John will be able to, from now on, have empathy, right? Understand the consequences of his actions. Understand the responsibility of being a loving human being, not just being whatever the powers that shouldn't be, try to force everyone to be. John's going to be the canary in the coal mine, showing everyone the way to go. John's going to be the example, And this is the only reason I'm going on this trip, is because it's going to give John Birmingham the opportunity to finally have his life. And John Birmingham will be the example for the rest of humanity on how to free themselves. John Birmingham, our road trip, will be an amazing, world-breaking event. And that's what we're going to do. So, yeah. So, back to, you know, how we bring forth the concept of the law of attraction, you know. Have you ever played with magnets? North and South Pole, right? The North kind of attracts the South Pole. The North repels the North Pole, right? So that's how it works. And such is the law of attraction of what you want. Meaning, as long as you let negative thoughts, control your mind, your life is going to be a life of negative thoughts. But if you put, that negative thought to be repulsed by your mind and not attracted, that's where you get the law of attraction. You bring forth positive thoughts and repel the negative thoughts. And the more you can do that in your day-to-day life as you go through life, and not, that's why, why am I in the library right now? Because it's a positive environment. I've been working on 6 new novels, right? And the computers here really do work pretty good. So I, kind of go forth trying to make things happen, right? And so I only put positive thoughts. That's why I'm not worrying about, I only have $9 to my name, and yet I got, I won't have a phone working by the day after tomorrow unless I can get, put $35 to my provider. And I have a whole bunch of other little bills, like I have a number of bank accounts that I use to have things deposited or retracted from it. And if those die, I'm never getting another bank account, you know. And maybe that's good, because I've been more and more a person of not having anything fit, in the material world of illusion. And that's actually given me more and more freedom, you know. So maybe I have to learn to live without a phone. Maybe I have to learn to live without electricity. Maybe I have to learn to live without running water. Maybe I have to learn to live without, medical care. Maybe I have to learn to live without eating, you know. So we'll see. In my mind, the only thing that occurs to me is positive outcomes because I don't worry about these other things. From experience, things work out, you know. Yes, whatever that means. You don't have to live. I mean, the Shawshank Redemption, they were redeemed. There's something about redemption. And, again, the law of attraction is about, your brain attracting the positive rather than the negative, right? And, but karma also has this thing of, responsibility, you know, and, what we do with our life. And if our life is focused only on the self, meaning, and this is where it gets tricky because, life isn't all about us. Life is about our connection with all our relations. And the more we just focus on, having sex or, having millions of dollars, or, you know, wanting to be famous or well known. Well, that doesn't really lead to self realization and to happiness. And happiness is when you make others happy. You know, why did I spend the last nickel I had to, go to where the deep green is and take care of things, which meant I took care of a number of other people, so they could, you know, be secure, right? And and by doing that, that lifted a concern, you know, from me and made me happy. Yes, it left me with only $9 to my name until, the 18th of April. But it gives me an opportunity to truly be, you know, creative, you know, and and it was really creative. For that scant $300, I helped a lot of people and changed their life in a positive way, which will, have repercussions on the deep green being in a good state. So you can come and visit, right? So you can have the experience of the deep green and shamanically change, as all you adepts are, and I can see you change with every show. You become better and better. You become more organic, more open, more aware of your conscious free will, which is not like the free will that's advertised as being selfish or, being narcissistic. That's not free will. That's addiction, When all you can think of is yourself, that's addiction, you know? And, wanting to live is not enough. Wanting to live well is not enough. Wanting to live well with all our relations, living well is what it's about. So there are a number of people, you guys, there's a guy named Stephen Greer, right? And he's got all these workshops. He's got his, disclosure project. And he's got some, he has his little workshop PT, 1 through whatever. But 3 and 4 are quite interesting, right? And then there's a guy named Emery Smith. And if you go see his YouTubes where it's just him talking about his experiences, those are much more interesting. Where the ones where he's being interviewed at, conventions like by David Wilcox, that's they're there to, kind of be funny and entertain and but this guy Emery Smith, he's quite interesting because he wasn't, he's one of those whistleblower guys, just like Corey Good. And both those guys they're a little strange, but if you were like played with by extraterrestrials and, the hidden hand and, the powers that shouldn't be, you'd be a little strange too, And so their information, and that's the whole thing about all of this, disclosure stuff. Linda Moulton Howe, Joseph P. Farrell, all those guys. They are giving good information, and you the observer, you the adept, this is for you to learn how to parse, how to understand. And there's a guy named John Vello Melchizedek. I met that guy in the 70s. And he's all about, and what's interesting about him, he's a man out of time. Again, all those guys, you don't have to believe them. Just listen to their information. right? And and Farrell's a genius. So is who's the guy who coined the phrase "breakaway civilization"? That guy. He's also very good, right? But again, all of these guys, when they were, out there in the wilderness, Richard Dolan, right? When they were out in the one, writing their books and doing their research, that's when they were best. When they started going to these conventions, eh, you know, because I mean that's why I stopped doing it. I was, one of the first convention guys when the conventions had like 12 people in the audience. When the guy who wrote "Behold the Pale Horse," he and I used to go around and talk to people along with a bunch of other folks, like Al Bielek and Preston Nichols and a whole bunch of other folks of that category. When no one, there wasn't even enough people in the audience to boo us. In the '70s, it was like, and I had, I was involved in other groups. Not these guys. I was involved with the UN and involved in, you know, secret societies, and they were like trying to dress me up, get me to be the next generation. And I went along because it was really nice to have people to think you were really powerful people to think you were groovy, right? And to give you access to things that you'd never have access to at all. And the earlier part of my life, I just stumbled into those things. I wasn't placed there, right? And then from 1988 to 98, that's when people kind of, put me in places. And that was great too. And they never made me get read in. I never had to drink the Kool-Aid. I didn't get to read or be or, understand the big picture, but I didn't need to. Just like I tell you guys, go read these people, listen to their YouTubes, watch what they have to say. Because forget about them. It's the information that you need to parse. Once you see it, once you're exposed to it, you can then go to your Akashic record and it'll be in there and you'll get the real picture, right? So that's what I'm talking about. I mean, you need to express your free will's conscious by understanding this stuff, not listen to somebody tell you, oh, this is what it is. No, you are going to be the adept that you are and understand this stuff. Take it apart, see it for what it is. Okay? So, yeah, William Cooper. He was such a teddy bear. But he's a prime example of, he had this, I have to protect, I have to be the hero. And, he went down in a hail of bullets. The way they tried to get rid of me was in a swimming pool of chocolate mousse, which, is a little more tasty her way. And I kind of pulled away from that just in time. Yes, his lectures were unreal. Like I said, he was a teddy bear. He was a great guy to hang with, He had a great sense of humor. Yeah, they definitely freaking killed him, in a hail of bullets, But he didn't have to die that way, But he was the hero. He wanted to go out and but he had a beautiful wife and kids and a pretty good life. He didn't have to go that way, Anyway. Yeah, on his own property. you know. Anyway, and there's a lot of people who end up dead. JFK ended up dead, Lots of people have ended up. And that's one of the problems with disclosure. The hidden hand, the powers that be, the sock puppets all have blood on their hands. And they're feeling really nervous about, being disclosed, shown, and the fact that they have, the thing I like about, Emery Smith, especially the one where he just kind of tells you who he was, what he did, what he was exposed to. And then he goes very clearly into the physics about zero-point energy, anti-grav, time travel, the whole concept of how everything's a harmonic. You know, there's more space. There's more space in this bag of water than there is matter, right? And so that's why the aircraft that we see flying around that we call ETs, they're mostly 99 point whatever percent are ours, because the ETs don't need ships. They can just, because they are connected spiritually from their consciousness to every element of the universe, and they can become part of it. They can go from here to there by thought. Now, you want to meet these guys, you want to see a flying saucer, go out in your backyard, clear your mind, 20% in, 30% out. Go into your Akashic record and make connection. That's your radio to anything you want to talk to. And tonight's, guided meditation is we're going to all, because we're all over the friggin' planet, we are going to collectively connect to the higher powers, not the, hidden hand or the powers that shouldn't be or the sock puppets. No, we're, cutting out the middleman. We're going to go straight to folk, spirits. That's why the Babylon 5 series was, it was a grade B sci-fi, but, you know, Harlan Ellison was really involved in that. And so he put a lot of really interesting stuff, and especially the whole thing about the shadow wars, the metaphor of the shadow and the government and the this and the straight up. And this was like in the 91 to 96 period, And the other amazing thing was the elders, the old folk, right? And that scene where the captain, plows his starship with two thermonuclear weapons into the Shadow's capital and jumps into the deep hole. And yes, he dies. But one of the elders kind of grabs a hold of him and basically goes through the whole thing of who are you and what are you doing here, right? And by the captain facing the fact of who he is and what he's doing there, he basically comes back to life, just like me, 6 times, right? He was deader than a doormat. I mean, he dropped, miles down that big hole, hits the ground like Daffy Duck and bounces and, you know, comes around, And he just keeps, he's like the ever-ready bunny. You can't kill this guy because he has a job to do, just like all of you, just like the cadre. You're part of the cadre because you have a job to do. You're here to do it, right? It's like your Sensei El Bob. I'm your griot telling you stories and giving you little germs of thought for you to parse yourself. Yes, you can come back. Like last night, we went and journeyed. And then when we were in the longhouse, I said, okay, let's talk. This is the place to talk. This is the place of respect. This is the place of honor. This is a place where the cadre can discuss in state. Didn't get too much. It was the first time out. We're going to be going there more and more. And we will, see that, right? And the bottom line is I've given you access to all of these tools. Now it's up to you. As my mom used to say, you can drag a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So I've given you access to all of these tools, and now it's up to you. So that's the story. And so, what else can I say? That's all I can say. So I say no more. Do. Anything else? Okay. So research, I'm going to give you a call in the next 5-10 minutes. As soon as once it hits 35 and 35, I'm going to say goodnight. I'll see you. Good afternoon. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy the beautiful day. And I am going to, see you tonight, somewhere between 7 and 8. Okay? Good. Talk soon. Yep. Here it is, 35 and 1 second. And so when it hits 35 minutes and 35 seconds, I will say, have a beautiful day, and I'll see you tonight. Okay? See you later, Jane. You have a beautiful day. Hope to see you tonight. Get more people to show up at the evening chats and for our guided meditation, okay? And where we're going is we're going to talk to the elders. We're going to talk to all of the Nephilim, all of the folk who have brought us who we are, our parents. We're going to talk to our real parents, right? Okay, here we go. Coming up to 35. Yep. Okay, gang. I love you all.